Hey everyone, today we're going to be testing out brand new drugstore and affordable makeup, and I'm really excited for some of these. So we're going to just jump right in, but if you're new here, hi, my name is Jen, and I do talk about a lot of drugstore and affordable makeup and skincare here on my channel. I love saving you guys money, but also I do talk about high-end makeup once in a while, and everything is completely unsponsored. So if that sounds good to you guys, be sure to hit the subscribe button, and let's go ahead and jump right in and get started. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with brow products. So this is a new brow gel from CoverGirl. This is called the Clean Fresh Brow Enhancer Gel Wax. It's a clear brow gel, and it says that it has a perfecting brush for a mess-free, easy application, that it has a lightweight, flexible, non-sticky hold that's not crunchy, and it's also supposed to be sweat resistant. So if you've been a viewer of my channel for a while, you know how much I love the Too Faced Fluff and Hold Brow Wax. That's the one that I have repurchased several times now, and it's the one that I use every single day, but I would love to find an affordable alternative. If I don't have to spend money on high end, I won't. And I mean, so far, I feel like the hold is pretty good. So we're gonna just do the other side quickly, and then I'm gonna let this set down for a little bit. We'll move on to something else, and then I'll come back and fill in my brows later. This is the way that I've been doing my brows for so long. It seems kind of reverse to what most people do, but I just find that it's so much easier. All right, so I really love how this is looking so far, and it just seems to have really great hold. My brows tend to grow downwards and kind of to the side, so I like something that has really good hold that's going to kind of spike them upwards a little bit more, and this is definitely doing that, at least so far. So let's move on to foundation. We'll just let this set down for a while. So I actually found a new skin tint from Almay. I feel like we haven't heard anything from Almay in such a long time. So this is called the Skin Perfecting Hydrating Tint. It has hyaluronic acid and squalane in the formula, and it's supposed to be a lightweight tint that hydrates the skin over time for a fresh and glowing complexion. And I got this in the shade 120 Beige, which seems like it'll be a pretty good match for me. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put a little bit on the back of my hand, and I'm just gonna apply this with my fingers like I do most skin tints. I think because they're essentially a moisturizer with a little bit of tint in them, I find it easier to just apply it like I would a normal moisturizer. And by the way, if you notice something different about my lighting, I'm actually filming in natural light today from the window instead of with my studio lights. I always sit in front of this big wall of windows in front of me, but I usually add the studio lighting in just to brighten things up a little bit more. But the last few times I did a get ready with me, and then I did check-ins later in my car outside, a lot of you were commenting on how you felt like the colors look totally different outside than they did inside, and you weren't quite sure what the colors were supposed to be. So I thought I would just experiment and do my makeup in natural lighting and see if that's okay. I always want to make sure that I'm as accurate as possible. So anyway, I just did half of my face. I don't feel like this really has much coverage at all, but it feels really nice. It has this super silky feel. I mean, you can kind of see this side of my face versus this side. It adds just a tiny little bit of coverage, but not too much. I feel like it did kind of even out my skin tone a little bit, but it doesn't really cover anything. So it's just something to keep in mind, but I'm gonna go ahead and just apply to the other side. I think it feels incredibly hydrating. It actually has a really nice texture. It's not as greasy as some skin tints are. It has a really soft, almost like velvet texture to it. Not in a matte sort of way, not in a drying sort of way. It's kind of hard to explain, but it just feels really nice and creamy. And also it has no fragrance to it, which is great if you have more sensitive skin. I don't know if I did my nose, but yeah, I think that's one of the things that Almay is really known for. So I love that this is a more gentle formula, and it should be good for those with sensitive skin. So let me just zoom you guys in a little bit and we'll take a closer look. So what I see when I look in the mirror is, again, not a lot of coverage, but this looks super natural on my skin. I love that it's not glowy or too dewy. Like, it doesn't make me look shiny, but again, it's also not that flat matte sort of a look. It really has an incredibly natural skin-like finish. It doesn't look like I'm wearing makeup at all, yet it just kind of evens out my skin tone a little bit and cancels out some of the redness and the patchiness that made my skin look not quite as smooth. So I do think it has a little bit of a smoothing effect. I think because of the moisture content in here, it has a little bit of a plumping effect. I don't notice my fine lines and pores quite as much. So overall, I think this is really, really pretty. All right, so because this doesn't have a lot of coverage, I'm going to just quickly use a concealer. So this is the new NYX Pro Fix Stick. And I got this in the shade Light. So these come in both color correcting formulas and also just regular concealer colors. So this is one of the concealer ones. I did get some of the color correctors as well, but I feel like color correctors work best under a foundation that has a little bit more coverage, especially if I'm putting green around my nose or something like that. I want to make sure I can kind of cover that up afterwards. So I'm not going to use those today, but I do want to try the concealer under my eyes. So I'm just going to dot this right at the outer corner. And again, I'm just gonna blend this with the warmth of my fingers, just patting it right into my skin. To be honest, I haven't had the best luck over the years with stick concealers. I always find them to be a little bit dry and cakey looking. So I hope that they've improved upon them since the last time I tried one. I think they just tend to have a little bit of thickness to them. And when you have more mature or aging under eyes, the thinner the formula, the better usually. So what I like to do is I just apply it on the outer corner of my eye and the inner corner, and I just kind of blend what's left over underneath. I don't want to put too much in this area though. But I do think that so far it's canceling out the darkness really well. I wouldn't say that it's a full coverage type of concealer. It's about medium, but if I look at this eye compared to this one, I think it did a really good job at just brightening things up. So I'm going to go ahead and do this eye really quick, and then I'll zoom you guys in and we'll see how it's actually sitting under my eyes. So right now, looking at my under eye area, I think this looks really smooth. I mean, we'll have to see kind of how it wears throughout the day, but upon initial application, this does not look cakey. It doesn't look heavy. It's not settling into lines and wrinkles. It's also not creasing either. So I think so far, this looks really, really flawless. Okay, so just quickly, I'm gonna put a little bit of this on and around my nose because I do have some redness there and the Almay didn't completely cover that. So just to get a little bit more of a flawless result, I'm just gonna dab this on, and I really like the convenience of the stick. I think it's easier than using a liquid. It's really just like a swipe and go kind of product. And that's really what's always drawn me to products like this, because I'm somebody who's usually doing my makeup really quickly during the day. I just wanna get out the door, but I've just always found stick formulas to be a little bit, drying, and they don't look as smooth on my skin as I would like them to. But so far, this one is really impressing me. So we'll see how it wears throughout the day. Let's move back over to brows quickly. I want to try this new brow pencil from CoverGirl. So this is called the Clean Fresh Brow Liner. It's a 1mm nano pencil, and this is supposed to be pigmented yet natural looking to effortlessly outline and fill in sparse areas. It's supposed to be sweat proof and smudge resistant. And I got it in the shade Soft Brown, which I'm hoping isn't too warm because my brows are definitely a cooler, ashier tone. But I absolutely love how tiny the tip is. It seems even smaller than some of the other nano brow pencils that we've seen at the drugstore. It reminds me a little bit of the one from Huda Beauty that I really like. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start filling in my brows. And to be honest, I haven't used a brow pencil in a while. I've been using brow pens because I just find them to be a little bit easier and I feel like I get better results with those. But so far, this one it's really showing up nicely. I don't feel like I have to really press to get the color to show up. And it's so tiny that it's creating those very natural looking hair-like strokes. But as far as the color goes, this is a little bit warmer than my natural brows. So I'm not crazy about this shade. I really wish that more companies would make an ashier toned brown for brows because a lot of brow pencils are just way too warm. I'm not saying that there isn't that color in this range, but this is the one that I thought looked the ashiest on the website, and it's really warmer than I would want. So I just wanted to mention that for any of you out there who know the struggle of having cool tone brows and how few products there are that really match well. So that's kind of a bummer. But other than that, I really like the formula of this pencil. Again, it's super easy to work with, and I think it gives a very natural looking result. Okay, moving on for eyes, I have these two new palettes from Essence. These are called Bloom Baby Bloom. So they have one that's a little bit more cool toned and then one that has a warmer color story. So let's look at the cooler toned one first. This is an eye and face palette. So inside you're getting 4 eyeshadows plus a highlighter, blush, and bronzer. So this one has kind of rosier toned shades. I really do love these rosy tone colors that are in here. And so far, at least in a swatch, the formula feels nice and soft. So that one's called Bloom Your Own Way. And then the other one is called Make It Bloom. And this one has a warmer, kind of more peachy color story. So you have these warm brown neutral eyeshadows, and then you have a slightly warmer, more golden highlight, a warmer pink blush, and then the bronzer also has a little bit more of a warm undertone. So I do think both of these are really pretty, but today I'm going to be using the cooler toned one. I just think it'll go better with what I'm wearing. So I think I'm actually going to go ahead and use the blush as my crease color because there's a deep brown here and then a light color, but the two midtones that I would normally use in my crease are shimmer shades. Not that you can't use a shimmer in your crease, but I figured that since I have these face colors and these are mattes, I'll just go ahead and grab one of those. So I'm going to use the blush. And what I like about this idea too is that I'm going to be using this same color on both my eyes and my cheeks, so it'll create a really cohesive look. And that's the nice thing about palettes like this is that you really don't have to think too hard, like what blush am I gonna pair with my eyeshadow, because you can just use the same color. And I have to say, even though this isn't an eyeshadow, it's performing beautifully. It's really blending out so nicely, and it has a good amount of pigmentation too, so I really like this. All right, then I'm just gonna go ahead and blend it out with this ivory shade right here. So I'm just going to go ahead and apply this right under the brow bone and diffuse the edge of the blush that I used. Next, I'm going to pick up this deeper shade and apply that to the outer corner. So I just picked that up on a smaller brush, and I'm just going to stamp that right at the outer edge and blend that in small circles. I mean, so far I'm impressed with how the shadows are performing. I don't think they're patchy. They have a nice amount of pigmentation. I don't feel like I have to keep going back in and picking up more product. Yeah, I feel like Essence has really stepped up their game in recent years when it comes to their shadows. Next, I'm just putting a little dot of my NYX glitter primer, and I just put this on my lid where I'm gonna stick a shimmer shade because it helps everything to grip a little bit better and pop a little bit more. So I like to do this with every shimmer shade that I use. So I'm gonna use both of the shades in this palette. I'm gonna put this one kind of in the middle of my lid and then this one toward the inner corner. So starting with the deeper rosy toned one, I'm just gonna merge this into that deep brown shade that I put in my outer corner first and work this across the middle of my lid. And then I'm gonna pick up that lighter taupey brown shade and I'm just gonna start this in the inner corner and blend it back toward the rosy shade in the middle. All right, so when it comes to these shimmer shades, I feel like they're not the most impactful formula in the world. They're a little bit more subtle and they have more of a satin-like finish. So you're not gonna get that really shiny, foiled, metallic look. Even over glitter primer, it's a very subtle type of result. So I just wanted to mention that, but otherwise I do think that the shadows were nicely pigmented and they blended really well. So next I'm just gonna apply mascara, and this is from Essence. It's their new Lash Without Limits mascara. So this claims to give lashes that defy gravity with extra length and incredible volume. And it's supposed to have a flexible wand for precise application and be an ultra black shade. I do really like the skinny wand. It reminds me a lot of the Maybelline Sky High mascara, both in terms of how the packaging looks, the wand, and how it's flexible. It kind of seems to me like they're duping Maybelline with this one, and I love the Maybelline Sky High formula, particularly because it doesn't smudge under my eyes. Not only does it give me huge lashes, but I love how long lasting that one is. This one is a few bucks cheaper though, so if it lasts as long as that one does, then I'll be pretty happy. So let's see. So my first impression is that this is a very wet formula. I think it's a little bit, ooh, I just got some on my eyelid. I think this is a little bit more prone to clumping than the Maybelline one. I'm able to comb out the clumps, but it's just really, really wet. and a little bit more goopy. But that being said, I think it does give me really big lashes, lots of length, lots of volume. So I am happy with the way my lashes look. I think with this one though, you just kind of have to be careful. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. I mean, this is cheaper than Sky High, but not by that much. So I don't know if it really makes sense to have a dupe for that one since it is another drugstore mascara. So anyway, let's go ahead and move on to face products. So I'm going to use the bronzer first, and I'm going to use the BK Beauty 103 brush. This bronzer looks a little bit deeper in the pan, but I'm hoping it's not too deep for me because it looks like it's a really nice cooler tone shade. Yeah, I mean, definitely have to be careful with this one if you have more of a fair skin tone. I don't want it to start to look too muddy, but I do really like the color and the tone of this one. Just gonna go ahead and dust my forehead. I mean, it feels like it's blending really nicely. It warms up my face. I think it looks pretty natural, at least in this lighting. So yeah, overall, I think it's good. All right, now I'm gonna go ahead and pick up the blush that I used in my crease, and this is the BK Beauty 107 brush. And this was really pigmented when I put it on my eyes, so I tried not to pick up too much. I just tapped my brush into the pan, and I think it definitely picked up a good amount of product. This color is really, really pretty. It's just a perfect kind of rosy tone shade. So really, I mean, first impressions of this palette, I think it's a nice one-step palette, good for travel, especially if you don't mind that the eyeshadows aren't too intense. But yeah, I think the face products so far are really nice. I'm just gonna grab the highlighter next and just put this right on the tops of my cheekbones. I don't know how much it's gonna pop in the natural light because usually the studio lights make that a little bit more, you know, glowy, but it doesn't seem like it's gonna be a super intense highlighter to begin with. So yeah, I mean, it adds a little tiny bit of glow, but I don't think it's too much. All right, moving on, I have some lip products to talk about. So first up are these new lip glosses from Almay. These are called the Color and Care Lip Gloss. They have hyaluronic acid and vitamin E. They come in some really beautiful colors and they're unscented, fragrance-free, which I really like. And these just look like they're gonna be really pretty, very natural looking colors. So I wanted to just quickly try all of them on for you guys so we can see what they look like on my lips rather than just arm swatches. So the first one I'm gonna try is Rose Glow. These feel very, they have like a cushiony feel. They're a little bit on the thicker side. They're slightly tacky, like if I press my lips together, but they feel really hydrating. In a lot of ways, they remind me of the Neutrogena Hydra Boost lip glosses, which are some of my favorites. So here's the shade Rose Glow. And then this next one is Paradise Punch. So this is a really pretty cooler tone pink. And then this last one is Lunar Blush. And I love this one. It's a cooler tone pink, but it has a little bit of a purple undertone. So overall, those seem like they're gonna be really nice, but for the wear test today, I wanted to try these new soft blur lipsticks from Wet n Wild. So these come in several different shades. I saw a display at CVS, and I ended up getting 3 of them to try. So these are supposed to be matte lipsticks that have that really soft blurring effect, kind of similar to the ColourPop Ultra Blotted Lips, if you've ever tried those. They're supposed to give that effect of applying a lipstick and then just blotting away the shine, and it leaves that little bit of a soft diffused matte finish. So these seem really interesting. As somebody who has very dry lips, I'm always looking for something that might give that matte effect but without the dryness. So I just want to quickly try all of the colors and then I'll do a wear test and then we'll see how they hold up throughout the day. So the first shade is I'm Shy, and these do feel a lot like the ColourPop Ultra Blotted Lips. They also have an extremely strong vanilla fragrance, so if you're somebody who doesn't like scented lip products, you might want to avoid these because I can smell it on my lips even after application, and I don't mind vanilla scents, so it's okay, but if this were a floral scent or something that I didn't like, I think it would be way too much, so I just want to put that out there. But anyway, here's this shade. And then this next one is Nude for Love. So this is kind of like a warmer toned peachy color. And then this last shade is Homecoming Queen. And one of the things I really like about these, is how weightless they are. They really don't feel like you're wearing anything on your lips at all, but they also seem to have a little bit of drag as you're putting them on, so they are a slightly drier formula. But anyway, here's Homecoming Queen. All right, guys, so that's everything. I'm gonna go ahead about the rest of my day. I'll check in with you in the afternoon sometime, and then again this evening. I am probably gonna have to use my lights for the final check-in because it's already getting a little bit darker, like the sun went behind a cloud, so it's gonna be completely pitch black by the time I film the end, so I'm not gonna be able to use the window light. Anyway, guys, I will check in with you a little bit later on. Hey guys, it's about 4 p.m. I just wanted to do my mid-afternoon check-in. I usually do it when I'm picking up my son from school in the car, and I completely forgot. So I just wanted to stand by the window so that you could see in natural light. And I mean, I think so far the eyeshadow looks okay. You know, like I said, it wasn't the most impactful eyeshadow, so it looks all right, but not really my favorite look that I've ever done. As far as like the bronzer and blush, I think they kind of faded a bit. I don't notice them nearly as much as I did before, and I feel like the highlighter kind of enhanced some texture on my cheeks here. I felt like my skin looked so good when I first put the Almay stuff on, and then once I added the powder products, I don't know, it doesn't look as good as it did before. I'm noticing, you know, my fine lines a little bit, and I don't know if that's because of all the powders that I put on or if it's the Almay just settling. So I hope it's not that, but I don't know. I kind of see the bronzer. It looks muddy in this light. Also, when it comes to the CoverGirl brow pencil, I feel like it doesn't look super smooth along the tops of my brows. It's kind of breaking up a little bit, and I haven't touched my brows at all. It's just sort of the way that it's been settling. Also, when it comes to the matte lipstick, it's definitely still holding on as far as the color goes, but I think my top lip faded a little bit more than the bottom one because I've been drinking water. I haven't eaten anything since I applied it, but just from taking drinks out of a bottle, it seems to fade. That being said, it didn't really transfer on the water bottle, so that's a good thing. But my lips are feeling incredibly dry, and I feel like they look lined with this lipstick on as well, and they just feel very tight, and I don't always notice that with the ColourPop Ultra Blotted Lips, so I think this formula is a little bit more drying than those are. So anyway, I will check in with you guys again in a little bit. Oh, so far the mascara is holding up, so I'll check in with you guys later tonight. Hey guys, it is about 8 p.m., so I just wanted to sit down quickly and let you know my thoughts, and I have to say, guys, I am really disappointed in a lot of these products today, especially the Essence palette. So let's talk about that first. When I look at my eyes, even with the glitter primer, which usually keeps my shimmer shades in place all day, I feel like these have faded so much. It just really looks awful. And same thing with the face products, the blush and the highlighter. First of all, I think the highlighter definitely enhanced my pores, which I talked about in my check-in in the middle of the day. But the blush is so faded. I really don't see it anymore. The bronzer, same thing. So I felt like this palette looked okay at first, but it is not long lasting at all. So I would save your money on this one. Also, as you can see, my mascara is smudged everywhere. And unfortunately, that's what happens a lot to me with Essence mascaras. I know so many people love Lash Princess, but this is what happens every single time. So I would much prefer to just spend a couple bucks more and get the Maybelline Sky High, which basically does the same thing as this, but it does not smudge and it lasts all day. So I'm also not going to recommend this mascara. What else didn't I like? The Wet n Wild Soft Blur matte lipsticks. As you can see, all this time later, my lipstick is still on, which is great. I do think my top lip faded a little bit more than my bottom lip, like I mentioned before, and now I ate dinner and everything, and it's still here. So I think these are very long lasting, but at the same time, they did make my lips feel really dry, so I would probably want to top it with some sort of a lip balm, but that's gonna take away from the matte look. So putting something like that on top is going to add shine, which if you want a matte look, then it kind of defeats the purpose. But at the same time, it might help to keep things hydrated for longer. And if the color underneath lasts this long, then it could be worth doing that, because at some point that moisturizing topper is going to wear away and leave you with the matte finish anyway. And hopefully just give your lips a little bit more hydration than just this alone. Then as far as the CoverGirl brow products, I actually really like the brow gel. I think this held my brows in place all day, which I'm really excited about because I think this could be a good alternative to my Too Faced Fluff and Hold, but I wasn't crazy about the brow pencil. Like I mentioned in my check-in around 4 o'clock, A, I don't like the color. I think it's too warm. And B, I just felt like it didn't look natural after a while and it was just kind of breaking up along the tops of my brows. So it wasn't as long wearing as they claimed it would be, at least on me. But then as for the things that I liked, I really love these Almay lip glosses. These feel so nice on the lips. They're really thick, cushiony, very hydrating. I love that they don't have a scent and they just give the right amount of color. I just think they're beautiful. I'm just gonna put this shade on again. This one was Lunar Blush. I just feel like these really make my lips feel so hydrated and kind of plump out my lip lines a little bit. And also I liked the NYX Pro Fix Stick. I did not set my concealer, but it didn't crease under my eyes. It didn't sink into the fine lines. My under eyes looked terrible because of the mascara, but before that happened, like earlier in the day, I was really impressed with how smooth this looked on me. I do feel like it wore away a little bit on my nose area, but at least for a stick formula, I was really impressed that it didn't look dry, it didn't look cakey. So I like this so far. I'm gonna have to keep playing with it, but so far so good. And then the Almay Skin Perfecting Tint, I like this one as well, but this is another one that I think I just have to give it more time. Part of the way through the day, I felt like my skin looked a lot more textured. And I don't know if that's because of the powders that I put on top, because I did put a bronzer all over and the blush and highlighter. So that made it really hard to tell what the actual finish of this looked like. Normally when I wear skin tints, I'll reach for like a cream blush or something that just kind of melts into my skin a little bit more than a powder. So I'm gonna try this with cream products next time and see if my skin looks better throughout the day. But I do love how this makes my skin feel. It's not sticky or too dewy and it's not matte. It just had a really nice creamy velvety feel and it evened out my skin tone nicely. So overall there were a few hits. I really like these two products, the concealer from NYX and the Almay Skin Tint. I also love the CoverGirl Brow Gel so far and the Almay lip glosses. Everything else I just felt like was a total fail. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on everything down below, and also let me know if you like me filming in natural light or if you like these lights better. I know the natural light can sometimes be hard to see because the sun is going in and out and things are changing, the colors are changing. So it was just kind of a little experiment, but if you don't like it or you felt like you couldn't see as well, definitely let me know. And I want to thank you all so much for hanging out with me today and watching this video. I truly appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed yet, I hope you'll consider hitting the subscribe button before you go. And if you have some extra time and you'd like to watch another video, I'll just pop something right up there for you to check out next. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you all in my next video. Take care, guys. Bye.